Welcome to the HITea with Grace podcast, where we spill the tea on HITea. I'm thrilled to be here at the ViVE conference with Virginia Halsey, VP of Product Management at FDB. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Graduated from UC Berkeley. I had a part-time job working my way through in a hospital, and then I got a job at First Databank in the entry level, and now I'm actually Senior VP of Strategy and Product Management.
Fantastic. We're so thrilled to learn from you today. I'm wondering, how is this next generation medication decision support that you're working on supporting to the evolution and of helping CDS just become more actionable and patient specific? And can you share examples of how AI and advanced analytics are improving prescription safety? And
with medication decision support, what is happening now is that instead of saying this drug interacts with this drug or this drug is a duplicate of this drug, we're turning it on its head and saying, what is the clinical consequence to the patient? Is it QT prolongation? Is it hyperkalemia, rhabdomyolysis? What is the clinical consequence? And then building the decision support based on a number of patient factors. And that gets you to a much better place. You're looking at labs, you're looking at if you have a discrete EKG value, risk scores, a myriad of factors. And then as far as AI, what we have been doing with AI is taking free text prescriptions or SIGs and interpreting those using AI. And that's been going on for a number of years already, even before the Gen AI technology really emerged. Again, those interpretation, and we use that for patient-specific instructions, schedules for the patient they can put on their refrigerator. There's a lot of people still doing that. And basically helping the patient to take their meds appropriately and by the right way. And what we've seen, for instance, a study out of the VA showed that doing this really improved the understanding of meds from the patient. And then we've had a couple of other studies, one out of San Francisco General that showed higher med adherence. So obviously that it's safer if you're taking your meds, and it's more efficacious if you're taking your meds at all.
It's incredible and truly amazing where CDS. So tell me, if you're thinking 10 years down the road, where do you see CDS really evolving to from where it is now?
Yeah. So one of the things that we anticipate is that it will continue to grow in terms of the patient information that's fed in. So right now it's usually just codified data, but with AI going through the notes and being able to pull out information with Gen AI makes a big difference. Something as simple as the indication for the drug. What is this drug for in this patient? Has been elusive for clinical decisions. People talk about it. We need that information in order to give therapeutic alternatives that are appropriate or dosing that is appropriate. Is it cancer or is it rheumatoid arthritis? It makes a difference. So we think more patient information, getting at those notes, and then also feeding into the normal workflows from the notes.
I'm wondering, what are some of the biggest challenges health systems are currently facing now in implementing these more sophisticated decision support tools?
Yeah.
As we think about it, how do you really balance that automation with clinical oversight?
Yeah. Competing priorities are the number one challenge for people to implement. People absolutely recognize that this is the right path to get this more appropriate patient-specific information, but then actually prioritizing the project. If you have a gap in your security, that's where your resources go. If you have a new hospital to bring up on your EHR, that's where your resources go. And you can't do the things that will increase physician satisfaction, clinician satisfaction, and get more appropriate information about the patient. So that's an issue. As far as the clinical oversight versus automation, right now today, I think it's really still about human in the loop. And that's what we've done with our kind of furthest along projects. But that may not always be the case. In the future, you may have agents that are checking other agents and AI checking AI, so forth. Yeah, but for now, It's about having the patient in the loop. And for our content or content that's coming from a source, a vendor, that's on the vendor. But for something like ambient listening and notes, that's on the end user, usually. End user or some kind of third-party check.
So interesting to think about it that way. And I'm wondering too, like in terms of the regulatory landscape, how are these regulatory and legal considerations shaping the development of AI-powered medication decision support? What are compliance hurdles that the industry is facing?
There's been very confusing language that has come out, and we've had customers coming to us saying they need to know everything about how we build our algorithms, even when it's not. So we had customers getting riled up that they needed to provide information, but our lawyers looked through the language, and it's really a lot simpler than that. You can just testify who's providing the source information.
Fascinating. My listeners love to hear about what's going on in the industry, but they also love to learn about you as a leader. So I'm wondering if you could give your younger self a piece of advice heading into the healthcare technology space, what would that be? It could be personal or professional or both.
Yeah, I think I've done pretty well starting off with an entry-level position and making it to where I am. And I think a lot of that had to do with learning every corner of the business and beyond the context beyond just what you're doing, your particular piece of it. I guess the advice I give to myself is calm down. Just calm down.
For our listeners to follow up with you after this conversation, where can they find you online?
Yeah. I'm pretty much on email and text and
LinkedIn
and everywhere else.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining me today at ViVE Live. And it's just great to connect with you and excited to see all the work that you're doing in this clinical decision support space and beyond.
Thank you so much for having me, Grace.
Check the HITea with Grace podcast website for more great interviews like Virginia today. Cheers.